Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do. So here on Let's Talk Ray Bradbury, I have been reading through a collection of Ray Bradbury short stories, reviewing them. The format is I give a brief synopsis of the story and then share a few thoughts at the end of the video. Today's story is The Fox and the Forest from 1950. This is story number 16 of 100 in the collection The Stories of Ray Bradbury. William and Susan are in Mexico watching a celebration. It's 1938. It appears to be New Year's. They appear to be tourists, but they are actually on the run from a man named Sims. Sims is what you call a searcher charged with taking them somewhere. We find out that somewhere is back to the future, back to 200 years from now, where they belong on a war-torn Earth. William is a scientist needed to create a special, newly, more powerful, destructive version of the atom bomb. A company named Time Travel Inc., basically loyal to the government, sends loyal workers back to the past, to a better world, to a more fun world with more freedom, as a sort of form of vacation for their loyalty, so they don't crack under the pressure of the present. And they implant a device in their brains which forbids them from being able to tell anyone about the future because they don't want them to mess with it. And this couple, having made it back to the past, decided they didn't want to go back to the future, and so they've been on the run from Sims. They figured out that, or they assumed that if they stayed in a crowd at all times, Sim would not be so easily able to capture them. When an American film crew shows up in this Mexican town, filming some shots, they sort of fall in with them, seeing this as an opportunity to always be in a crowd because they would have a group of friends of their own. One day they go to a hotel room to watch some of the dailies from the day's shoot. Sim shows up. The director spitballs, basically tells them that I have this idea for a story, and then he describes their life. Revealing that this science fiction story he would shoot a film about was in fact their story, and this group of 8 filmmakers are in fact a group of searchers working together. The fox always finds the prey, even in the forest, being the implication here. William grabs a gun, shoots some of the people, but not before the time machine is activated and they all sent back to the future, back to their hell on Earth of 200 years from now. Cute little time travel story. Reminds me a little bit of the movie Looper by Rian Johnson. But in reality, this is another Bradbury sort of communist hysteria story. Written or released in 1950, right about the correct time as the World War II has ended and the Cold War is heating up. It's really a story that is the sci-fi equivalent of citizens sort of fleeing a communist state, basically going off somewhere as tourists, defecting, and trying to blend in, but of course, as is the case with tourists, it's hard to blend in places. It's hard to learn all the proper customs of the place and the time, and you inevitably get found out. In this story, in fact, one of the things that gave them away to the searcher was that when he sat down, he didn't hike his pants up. Well, apparently they all wear like onesies in the future, and so there's no pants to pull up. But it's just a little ridiculous, insignificant thing, which I think speaks to the rigidity of this future civilization where they come from, where everything is so regimented by the government that you notice little things like having they controlled what you wear, so like it gives away the fact that he's not used to ill-fitting clothing in the past, I guess. Despite the time travel devices and tropes that Bradbury uses here, sort of the idea like, we'll put a device in their brain so they can't telling one about the future and spoil the timeline. Things like that. They're sort of cop-outs, but as ever, in Bradbury's sort of deft, talented hand, it's forgiven because he's so confident in the way that he voices these things, and really saves a lot of time. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of exposition required to make the setting work without the reader saying, "Oh, well, that's a loophole. That's a loophole." But he does it well here, as he always does. One thing I always say in these videos is that everything Bradbury did was so deceptively simple. It looks like it should be easy, but few people really mastered the ability that he had for selling the absurd in order to use it as a sort of a backstop or as a palette for stories that themselves have more serious messages just below the surface. So, The Fox and the Forest from 1950, Stories of Ray Bradbury collection number 16 of 100. If you are following along, I'll be back soon. Next review is Kaleidoscope from 1949, so tune in to see what that is all about. So thank you once again. Please subscribe, and I will see you next time.